Hello, Judy.
Hello, Lisa. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. So we've been,
Thanks.
we've been talking about this topic for a few minutes now, and I can't wait to talk to you and actually get this down in a recording because this is so much fun.
Well, and it's interesting how this is the first time that we've talked about a book that we really felt was important that I hadn't read.
Yes.
So I actually went on some resource things last night and I kind of looked some things up. And I mean, it really piqued my appetite. So, I made you promise that you'd bring the book so I could read it, but I'm
I
anxious to
did.
just, yeah, I'm
So
anxious
the
to
book that we're talking about today is this one right here. It's called
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits
Mhm.
by James Clear. And it's a book that I have and I've loved. And so we sat down back in December or January and talked about our favorite books.
Mhm.
And this is the third month of this year. And so this is it's way at the top of the list.
Yep.
So
It's our
I
third
love this
the
book.
third book, yeah. Yeah. Well, and
So
I have a sense that I'm gonna share that love once I read it, but, I think there were some real key items there, some juicy ones to talk about.
so you basically got online and did some research about James Clear and Atomic Habits.
Mhm.
I have read the book a while ago, some time ago. I mean, probably 5 years ago.
Okay.
But I think about it all the time. And so what I did to get prepared for this is I listened to several of his podcasts where he had been interviewed by different people. And what
Mhm.
I found so fascinating is the different, I think that I found 8 of them where he has been interviewed on
Okay.
different podcasts.
Okay.
And the ones I listened to were shockingly similar.
Really? They all took
Yeah,
the same format, huh?
exactly. And so I
Yeah.
didn't want to do that with you. I definitely want to riff on what he talked about in the book, but then take it and make it more personal to us and where we are in our lives.
Mhm.
So, kind of starting where he started in the book, he based this aha
Mhm.
concept on the fact that when he was in high school, he was hit in the face with a baseball bat. A teammate that slipped out of the classmate's hand and hit him between the eyes, he said. Broke his eye
Mhm.
sockets, his nose, and the bone underneath his nose. Um, he walked to the school office, and the secretary asked him some questions. He got the year wrong, and he also had a hard time remembering what his mom's name was. At which
Ouch.
point they called the emergency, and by the time he got to the hospital, he was in a bad way, and he was starting to have seizures, and they put him in an
Awful.
they induced him into a coma.
Mhm.
And then after that, he basically had to relearn a lot of things. He had to, as he said, he had to learn how to walk in a straight line. Very basic things that then kind of started him on this journey of how do we create and become who we decide to create and become.
How do we rebuild?
Yeah,
How do
kind of.
we settle our identity in or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think something that really appealed to you and I was that concept of deciding the type of person you want to be. So the whole book is based on the idea of either creating good habits and good decisions for yourself or breaking bad habits.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, we are not spring chickens. And so we
Boy,
are
you can say that again.
we are wherever we are because of the decisions we've made. And you had a great quote about that.
Oh, yeah, I basically said with good habits, time will work for you.
Hmm.
With
Hmm.
bad habits, time will work against you.
Yeah.
And I can remember a quote by James Rowan where he said, "Everything matters." So whether it's a good habit or whether it's a bad habit, it all counts.
It all counts. And in one of the podcasts that I was listening to, he stated it a different way. The
Okay.
way James Clear stated in one of the podcasts I listened to, he said, time multiplies whatever we feed it.
Ooh.
And that was just so graphic. I
It's
just
pretty
thought,
juicy.
yeah. And so, over my 30-year career as a teacher, I thought, yeah, I fed it being a teacher. And I became a master teacher through the course of those events. Now,
Mhm.
I'm probably not going to spend the next 30 or 40 years in any particular career, but I'm at a place as a midlife woman that I get to decide who I want to be and what I want to do for this next season of my life.
Absolutely right. It's so interesting how we think, at least I think, that's just my opinion, that it takes some huge drastic change to become that person we want to be. And the truth of it is that it is just a whole series of small things added together. And it's that simple. And we get to choose day to day to day what small thing we want to incorporate next.
Mm-hmm.
That just blows my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, who thought, and when we started talking about this book, I thought, that's what he's saying. Atomic habits. I mean, atomics are pretty big things, and they come from really little things.
Mm-hmm.
Atomic, that word is pretty meaningful.
Yes.
So,
And he actually has three components to the word atomic for his book. Atomic is the basic building block.
mhm,
Atomic particles also are the not just the basic, the beginning place, but they're the building blocks that make bigger things.
mhm.
And atoms and atomic can also, be the big bang, be explosive, can be,
So they can
absolute
make a huge difference.
a huge difference. So
Sometimes bad, sometimes not good, not
yeah,
bad.
yeah. So let's just sit on that concept for a little bit. Decide what kind of person you want to be.
Mhm.
And one of the podcasts that I listened to, he was getting into the discussion on January 1st. And
Oh,
really, talking about you don't need to wait for the first of the year or the first of the month or the first of the week to make that decision. Because what we're
mhm.
really talking about here is not big, huge decisions, but just deciding what kind of person we want to be based on the little things that we do.
That idea is supported by so many different areas of our life. They talk about the chaos theory, where a butterfly moving his wings this way can affect hurricanes in Florida. I haven't done the scientific research to know if that's the case, but it's certainly an interesting theory. So
Mhm.
when you say that just making this small change, I mean, we all know if you're sailing a sailboat on rough seas and you alter your course just 3 degrees, it can alter your destination by a huge amount. So,
Yes, you can end up on a whole
there's
different continent. Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And I've never thought of applying it to creating the identity for myself that I really choose to have. I've been
Mhm.
just really good at putting myself down for the things that I don't have. And then this idea of just a small change every day could create, with my help, a new identity. And I thought, whoa, I like that idea.
So
Now it's
one of the examples that he used was he wanted to become a reader.
okay.
And he had witnessed so many people saying, I want to read this many books. I want to, setting these lofty goals. And he decided to take the kind of the opposite perspective, where he decided to say, okay, what is the minimum requirement? Now, of course, I can do way more than this,
Uh-huh.
but by setting my minimum standard of expectation, I'm going to achieve, just by being steady, more than I did this past span of time, this past year, this past, decade, whatever he was, comparing
And
it to.
when was that? Was he didn't read anything?
I I don't remember, but what
Could
it
be.
boils down to is he then set up systems in his life to help him achieve that goal. He purchased an Audible membership. He also purchased the books themselves that he wanted to read. And then he set up a goal for himself to read a minimum of 1 page before he went to bed every night. And,
Wow.
looking at that system that he set up, making it, just jump out, making it easy, making it satisfying, making it just really almost you had to fall over it if you weren't going to do it. It helped him to become successful. And as you continue to build on those, you become a reader.
Well, I mean, it's obvious. If you read 1 page a day and you're reading a 200-page book, by day 200, you've read the book, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you're reading a page a day and you read a 70-page book in 70 days, you read the book. So, it really has some very easily attainable results.
Yes.
And
And
I like
as
that.
you were saying, it's kind of like Lay's potato chips. Can anybody eat just one? Can you really, if as you start getting into the book, you're going to want to dig into it and, read more than just a page before you go to bed at night.
Well, ask our Sidetracked sister Sandy about the ability to eat just one grasshopper mint cookie.
You mean
She can't do it.
a Girl Scout cookie?
Yeah.
One of those Thin Mints? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, deciding what you want to be or what's important
How
to
do you
you.
want to be identified? How do you want to see yourself? I don't give a rat's about
Yes.
other
How do you want to
people.
see yourself?
How
That's the
you want to
important
see
question.
yourself, because that is going to be much more satisfying, I think, than how anybody else sees you, because
Yeah.
that's up to them. They get to
Well,
decide.
and I think so many people, think about those big things. And we don't really, we don't really accomplish anything because somebody else wants us to, or
No.
even because that's what, is looked highly on by society. We really, are things inside of us that call to us and speak to us. And that's what we need to focus on.
Well, what I really find interesting about my friend Lisa, and
Wow.
I'll speak to you of in the third person, is when you find a book that you think I would enjoy reading, you stay away from saying, Judy, you've got to read this book. Instead, you entice me with little pieces that would appeal to me. And you say, research this a little and see what you think. And before you're done, I am panting with enthusiasm to read the darn book, but that's so much more
Tantalizing.
well, it's so
Intriguing.
much more, yeah, because now it's my choice to read the book. It's not you saying, oh, you should read this book, because I've had some books that people have told me to read, and I start to read the thing and I'm going, nah, it's not my thing.
Yeah.
But when I've chosen it based on your sharing, it's always, 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 I'll say always, and I don't use that term very often. It's always satisfying. I love it. I'm so excited.
So the other thing that when I was listening to these podcasts, he was asked this two really good questions by one of the podcasters. Don't remember which one it was anymore. What was the most important aspect of the book that you don't feel like you emphasized enough? And the last thing that we're going to talk about is, what is the next chapter? What is the chapter that you would write next that you didn't include in the book?
Those are
So
great questions.
jumping back into the first question, what is the thing that you didn't emphasize enough? And do you remember what I told you that was?
Yeah, and from the research I did, I think that he thinks the most important part was setting up systems. Not worrying so much about the goal, but setting up systems that you can easily follow that will direct you that way.
Yes, and not complicated systems.
No, simple.
That were simple and just get your feet wet every day in that goal. They weren't big, high tootin' falutin lofty systems. They were just basic one foot in front of the other kinds of systems.
Yeah, I think he actually said that his systems needed to be obvious.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, it's obvious if I want to do this. And then um, attractives, they weren't something you went, oh, I don't want to do that, but oh,
Mm-hmm.
that'll be fun, and then easy and then satisfying so that you went, I really feel good about what I did today. I think it really brought me closer to what I want to be.
Right.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
talked about that with becoming healthy. He stayed away from the losing weight thing, but he definitely talked about being healthy and focusing on what makes your body healthy and what makes your body feel good. And I really I really thought to myself, that saying that I quoted him on before, time multiplies whatever we feed it. And I've heard somebody else say, the body doesn't lie. And I've
Right.
thought about that comment a lot. And I don't know how I feel about that one, because I think about people who get cancer and who are so healthy. And I don't think that one always holds. But I think
Well,
time
yeah, there's a
multiplies.
part of it that I agree with. I mean, if you're 100 pounds overweight and your knees are going and things like that, I mean, the body doesn't lie. It's telling you, hey, person, do something about that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have anorexia and you're painfully thin, the body is saying, feed me, but feed me the right things.
Yes.
So, I mean,
Mm.
I think there are those exceptions, which would be to disease. There
Okay.
are diseases that I don't think are in that genre. However, if you're a lifetime smoker,
Mm-hmm. There are
okay,
things we can do to push the scale, the balance in our favor.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's exactly right. And, I think you and I are great overthinkers. I think we can overthink it, but I really do think that uh, time does multiply whatever we feed it, and our bodies multiply whatever we feed it.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Because you
true.
can't change your body, really. I mean, it's hard to change your body overnight for the good.
Mm-mm.
I think it's easy to change it overnight for the bad.
Oh yeah, pizza every day. I'll do it every time. And then again, my friend Jim Rohn said, eat an apple a day.
Mm-hmm.
And, he basically said, don't reach for the Hershey bar, reach for the apple.
Do you
And
know what I reach for? It is
what?
crazy. And Craig called me on it the other day.
What?
I buy 4 cans of pickled beets every week.
Wow. I
And
love pickled beets.
when I am feeling the need to pick up something, I want something that has a lot of flavor to it.
Hmm.
I want fruit. I want something that it's almost like salty, maybe.
Hmm. It has to be satisfying, so it has to have
Yes.
a taste you remember.
Yeah. And I don't know why pickled beets does that for me, but it does. When I get home from work, I feel ravenous. And somebody said I could go all out buffet on myself. And I thought, oh, that's just perfect. I feel the exact same way. And
Me
when I
too.
was a teacher after school, there is this 3 to 5 o'clock period. I don't feel it when I'm leaving work, but by the time I get home, I am ravenous. And so what I do is and I found that I don't feel guilty. I eat the entire can right out of the can, and
Ah,
it makes me feel better. And I'm
that's
not as ravenous
amazing.
anymore.
Oh, you know what I do? I eat dill pickles. I love dill pickles, and I'll even take a sip of the pickle juice. But, something about that salty, and the only thing
Is
I
it
don't
salty?
like about the
It's
dill
just
pickles,
sour. Is it salty?
oh yeah, dill pickles have a lot of salt.
Okay. I wonder
And
if the pickled beets, a
but I'm
can of
gonna
pickled
try
beets.
pickled beets. I have a can of pickled beets in my refrigerator right now. I brought
You
pickled
know,
beets to our salad thing on Thursday, so
yes, I love pickled beets. I mean, sometimes you've bought just the regular beets,
mm-hmm.
but I like the pickled beets.
Ah, Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a difference. They're, you know, pickled anything. Dilly beans that are, pickled green beans. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so yummy. I love pickled asparagus. It's really yum, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pickled beets, I can match you on that one. I'll have
It's
to
my
try it.
go-to, and it sounds so crazy, but it's guilt-free. I mean, it's only got like 50 calories or something like that for the whole can. Yeah. And it does what it's supposed to do. It kind of fills me up. It gives me a that 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 flavor punch, and
Sure.
then I'm done.
That's awesome. I love it. I have to put that one on my list. I'll have to pick up some, make sure I'm getting pickled beets. I know I
Pickled.
buy canned beets. I just have to make sure they're
They're
pickled.
pickled. Yeah. So
Yeah.
systems, that's a system that I don't, like I said, Craig just called me on it this week. He goes, and not only do you eat the pickled beets, but you eat the whole can. And it was like, yep, I do.
That's a boatload of pickled beets, honey.
I know. So,
Oh, love it. I love it. I'll have
and
to,
okay, so that brings us to the last part. The last
yes.
part of our conversation today. We've talked about deciding us non-spring chickens, what we want to be. Then we talked about setting up some systems. And the last part is what I mentioned. He said if he was to add another chapter to the book, or what did he, not get to, and that was the issue or the concept of fun. And looking back on my,
Hmm.
my New Year's resolutions or goals for the year kind of a thing, did I really include any fun things? I guess I did. The ukulele. We talked about that before. That's simply for fun. And then I also got a whole bunch of stuff for calligraphy. And
That's
that's
hard
really
work, but it's fun.
just for
It's
fun.
the accomplishment part of that's fun.
Yeah, yeah. But even the meditative practicing the strokes,
Hmm.
that's
But
oddly,
you're a lot more well-read than most people. So I think it would occur to you that you have to have some fun things in there or you're going to throw them out right away. But
uh-huh.
I think that's the reason a lot of New Year's resolutions get thrown out because there is no fun aspect to what's being done. And
Mhm.
unless I'll tell you, laughter is so important and having a bit of good, healthy fun and something you're doing that actually brings about not just a chuckle, but a hoot, I think don't you think that's really important?
Well, yes. I mean, okay. So I guess there are a couple of kinds of fun. The fun that you're talking about. I don't know what I would put on my list to get a hoot out of. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be. I mean, I guess when I think of playing the ukulele, the thing that inspired me to even think about it was some time ago. This was years. A friend on Facebook went to a ukulele. It was at a coffee shop, and it was like 100 people brought their ukuleles and
Oh,
their
wow.
computers or whatever, and they all played the same songs together. And
That's
I thought,
amazing.
oh, and she just panned the whole restaurant, and I was like, oh, that looks like so much fun. I'm
Well,
like,
I've
isn't
I've
Madison?
mentioned it before, but there are three of us that have ukuleles, and I think it would be fun to do it together.
Together. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and then I was reading your post that just came on our blog site about campfires.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I thought, boy, there's not an instrument that's more portable
Then a
to support
ukulele.
campfire singing than
Yep.
a ukulele. I mean, I used to play guitar around the campfire, and
Yeah.
I like doing that, but I think the ukulele would be even easier and
Easier.
fun.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would
I
like
killed my fingers. My guitar had steel strings,
no.
and that was
You want
really hard on my fingers. I had intense calluses.
Yeah, I have my guitar has gut strings, so it's what they
Mhm.
call an acoustical guitar instead of
Mhm.
what you're
A
talking about.
standard
And
or
when
a classical guitar,
my
maybe.
first guitar had steel strings, and oh, it was brutal. So when
Mhm.
I got my second guitar, it had the nylon or gut strings, and it was much better. Now,
So,
something that No, I'm not even going to say that. It would be off the topic.
Okay. So, and as I think about what sounds fun to me, it doesn't have to sound fun to anyone else.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
I was thinking something that I haven't written down yet in terms of one of my goals is that joke I told you and Mom and Michelle about um okay, about my mother-in-law, about Llewellyn.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what I was talking about here? She
Mm-mm.
had come to the house and she was all excited. She told me that she had tried chai tea at her I don't know where she was at the tag center where she works out and how good it was and how she enjoyed it. I'm like, whoa, girl, that's really exciting. I um oh, I blew it.
You blew
No,
it. She told you she was
she had tried
practicing
Tai
Tai
Chi.
Chi. Yeah,
Yes.
now I
And
remember.
I was all excited because I thought this is like yoga and meditation,
That's a big
slow
deal. Yeah.
movement. It's very cool. And I was all impressed. And she was like looking at me like, what's the big thing about drinking chai tea? And yeah, I said, well, I've, I've never, I've
No,
messed
you
up
did
the
it
whole
again.
thing. Anyway, she was talking about the tea, chai tea. I thought she was talking about Tai
Tai
Chi,
Chi.
which is a meditative movement from China, I believe, or
I think it
Japan.
is China. Yeah. And it's
China.
becoming very popular.
And I thought that is something, if you ever find a place that has Tai Chi, I would love to try
If I
Tai
find a place that has Tai Chi, we'll go do that and then we'll have chai tea
Chi
afterwards.
afterward. Mhm.
I'm
And
sorry.
that
I
just
couldn't
sounds like
resist.
a ton of fun. And
Mhm.
yeah. Now, am I actually, the other thing that we've done recently as Sidetracked Sisters, we have dedicated ourselves to doing some personality tests.
Yes. And that was
And that is
fun.
fun. Yes.
Mhm.
Just,
Mhm.
we've talked about it for a while and you and I love doing them. And so we've dragged Michelle and Sandy along to do them with us and said,
We
hey,
do that all the time, don't we?
yes.
But I love it.
So
But
it's
what
just
was
so
yeah,
cool.
we could do a whole nother podcast on personality tests. We'll have to do that. We could probably get the four of us together to do that one.
Oh, that would be fun, wouldn't
Wouldn't
it?
that be fun? Yeah.
Yes. So when
First,
we're looking,
I have to retake the last one because I found myself just not wanting to decide, so I just chose the thing right in the middle, and I don't think it totally
mm-hmm.
talked about me.
Yeah. So yeah, we discussed that. We did the Enneagram.
Enneagram.
Yes. And you and Sandy did a lot of the choosing the middle circles,
Right.
where Michelle and I made sure we committed to one side or the other. And
Mhm.
that made all the difference.
It did. It did. So I'm going to do it again before next week, and we'll tell you what I really am.
And that is fun. Deciding and doing things that are fun. It's just energizing, isn't it?
And I guess for you and I, getting to know ourselves better, getting to have the tools to be the best we can be, those things for us are fun. So
Mhm.
I guess if you're a person who says, that's fun, I think that sounds like work. Well, figure out what's fun for you
Mhm.
and make sure that you incorporate some of that into the systems, right? Into what you're
Exactly.
doing to
Mhm.
help you with growing that new identity.
And I think the other aspect of fun is the fact that we're not doing these things just by ourselves. We're
Right.
doing this in community. So, as you said, Sandy and Michelle aren't really into the whole personality thing, but it's fun to explore that with other people, not just, oh, okay, great. I'm a number 5. Whoopee, but
Who gives a rat's, right?
but it was fun to share, if we thought our identities as, as
Was it what we thought
specified.
we were? Yeah,
Yeah. And
exactly.
then we
Yeah,
discussed, what we really thought about each other. And yeah, that was fun. That was really
it was
fun.
fun. But that was kind of the first really, I mean, we've been having fun for the last many Thursdays because we all bring different components and we make these mega salads that are pretty darn delicious. And that's been fun, but it's kind of like, okay, time to add
Mix
something
things up a
different.
little bit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
So with that, Judy, I think we're going to wrap things up here. We've talked about some new and different things. Definitely would encourage people to pick up and read
Atomic Habits, and
Atomic Habits.
you're gonna put it somewhere where you're gonna remember it Thursday, so I can pick
I'll
it up
pass it
from
on to
you.
you. Exactly.
Thank you.
And yeah, because it's definitely where I'm at right now, continually wanting to grow and change, even here in midlife.
Yeah, we midlife women need to, you know, you always have this feeling, oh, I can do it tomorrow. I can do it. You don't know when tomorrow really is. And especially me, because I'm 15 years older than you are, at least.
Yep.
15, yeah. And so who knows how much time we have to have all this wild fun. So now is the
Let's
time.
get as much in as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Okay, sounds good, Lisa. Thank you.
Love you,
Thank you
Judy.
for introducing me to Atomic Habits. I think it's going to be a good read.
I think so. You'll enjoy it. Okay. Later. Bye-bye.
Bye.